Good morning. Just getting the rest of my technology up and going, and then we can transfer this pattern. Okay. All right. So, transferring our pattern. First, you're going to want to start out with a piece of fabric. I don't normally cut squares. I usually just have my whole sheet of fabric out and I just cut around my hoop. So I like to leave about an inch or inch and a half on each side, and go from there. Okay, so I forgot to grab my screwdriver. Hold on one second. You don't have to have a screwdriver, but I feel like it helps a lot. So what we're gonna do is just loosen this a little bit so that we can put our fabric between these two hoops. So it doesn't matter if your hardware is going this way or this way, I tend to have mine this way and I don't know why. I've marked the center of my inner hoop, so in case it gets off centered, that's the center. Okay, so what we're gonna do is take out that inner hoop. It goes below the fabric. And then you can kind of see it, just get it centered in your fabric. And then we're going to put the outer hoop on, like that. Okay, so once that's in there, we're going to tighten this just a little bit. And then we're gonna pull this tight. The tighter, the better. It should sound like a drum when it's done. If this fabric is loose, you're more likely to have like puckering around your stitches. So I like to use a screwdriver and make sure that this is really tight. So once I've tightened the hoop again, I just go around the edge and pull this fabric tight again. Okay, and there we have it. Another thing I like to do, I don't have my fabric scissors over here, so I'm not gonna be able to do this real great, but I just cut off the corners. They don't have to be perfect, but they tend to get in the way when I'm stitching. So, anyways, I just cut the corners off. One more, just so those stay out of the way. Okay, so there we have it. All right, so what we're gonna do is get our pattern on there. So you can do it one of two ways. You can cut it out and trace it that way, or you can bring it up on a tablet. I'm gonna show you how to transfer from a paper, but let me just show you if you're gonna do it from a tablet. I always turn up my brightness all the way, and then I lay my fabric the opposite way. So I'll draw on the inside of the hoop rather than like this. So I draw it like this, and then I take my fabric out, I flip it over. I like to stitch with my fabric on top instead of on bottom, because I feel like the edge gets in the way of my stitching. So anyways, just resize this so that it fits, and then you can trace it that way. So I'm going to do it this way just so you can see it that way. I think this is going to be the more common way, but maybe it won't be. So I kind of left a big kind of a space behind my hoop. So as we can see, like, we want it to fit on the inside, which it's going to be too big. So this will just need to be trimmed down a little bit. I usually cut it just inside the circle. It doesn't need to be perfect as long as you're not like cutting into like major parts of the pattern. Like you don't want to cut off flowers or stuff like that. Okay, so now that should fit. Whoop, still not quite. Okay, hold on. Just keep trimming. All right. Still not quite, goodness sake. Let's see. Goodness. Okay. This is fine. We'll just keep trimming until it's good. Okay. I'm gonna call that good enough. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the pattern down so then we can see it. If you're having a hard time seeing it, you can put this up against a window. You could also grab your, like an iPad or something, so that you have just some light behind it. So what we're gonna do, so I'm just gonna kind of squish this in here. You could use a little piece of tape. I don't feel like that's super necessary for me. But I'm just going to hold my fingers up against the back like this and trace. So when I'm tracing my patterns, I don't trace every single detail, because I feel like a lot of it gets covered up anyways. Or sometimes when I'm stitching, I just don't stitch exactly how the pattern is, especially like on this plant down here. So I usually just stitch the main stuff. So I'll just show you, like these flowers, I'll draw the whole thing on there. But then I'll do this plant down below and show you. So if you got a kit, you will have a black one of these markers. This is a Pilot Frixion fine liner erasable marker. I don't have problems with any of the colors. I mean, you don't want to be like drawing all over here. That'll leave like ghost lines, but we are going to cover up these lines with stitches. So I'm not worried about these showing through. So I'm not worried about having to cover these up. So once we get down here, we're gonna fill these in a lot more. So I'm just gonna draw just a few, like this is where they're going. And then same with this. I'm not going to draw every single leaf on there. I'm just gonna draw the shape that we're gonna go for. And then we can add the leaves as we're stitching. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw this edge. Okay. And then same thing with the house and these like pots right here. Like I'm gonna draw the pots and that's it. I mean, you could draw like the stems, like this is where little flowers are gonna go. But once we do the house, the flowers will go on top of the house. And so you won't be able to see that you've drawn these on there. So it doesn't make sense to like draw every single detail. Same with these shutters. I'm not even going to draw those shutters on there because they are going to get covered up and we will stitch on top. Okay, so we've got our little pool over here, our little pond or whatever you want to. Looks like an egg, yes. Okay, so now we're gonna draw our little gnome. I thought about doing a fairy, but I just think that was gonna be too hard. Okay, and then we've got our bench. And we've got our leaves here. I am going to draw these leaves because of the stitch we're going to use. We're going to need an outline for these, so I am going to draw them on here. Let's see what we have here. Okay, and then we've got these ones. And then I'm just gonna do some V's. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do some cute little plants, little flowers. These are where the leaves are gonna go. Okay, and then down here, so this has like the flower and leaves on it, okay? But what we're gonna do, I'm just going to draw just the flower and the stem, and then we will fill in the leaves where we feel like it once we get stitching. So don't go and draw all of those leaves. It'll just get really messy. Okay, so there it is. I know it's a little bit different than our actual pattern. You can draw it exactly if you want to, but it's just not necessary. It just gets a little bit messy. So that is it. Transferring your pattern. So we will get started stitching on Monday. I will make a plan on what stitches we're going to use. And post that either Saturday or Sunday so you kind of know what to expect. But yeah, this should take us about 2 weeks. I try and keep videos like 30 to 45 minutes. So it depends on the day and what we have going on. So plan on that. I usually go live at this same time. My son is in preschool in the mornings, so then I don't have children running around. But he's also very entertaining. So if you've done a stitch along with me before, you know he likes to entertain us. So anyways, let me know if you have questions or problems. And yeah, I will see you next week and we'll get stitching. Have a great week. Bye.